this is going to sound really bad on its surface, but hear me out here. I am thankful that my father died when he did. I wish I had more time with my father. I wish my father was able to grow up and see my kids graduate from high school, go off to college, have relationships of their own. I wish that my father was around to be able to see his grandson growing up into the man that he's growing up to be. And see the things that all of his grandchildren have been able to accomplish. I wish he was still around to be able to learn of the granddaughter he didn't know that he had and the great grandchildren that he didn't know that he had. But I am glad that he died before the onset of Trumpism. And it was right before, right? It was right before, the year before the 2016 election. And the reason why I'm glad is because my father was a racist man and a sexist man. My father didn't give a shit who was having sex with who. If you were gay, bi, he didn't give a shit about any of that stuff. He was in favor of Medicare for all. He thought everybody should have his Medicare because it worked great for him. He thought people should be able to earn a living wage. If you go out and you bust your ass, you should be able to earn a living, goddammit. But he couldn't get over his racism of people of color, and he couldn't get over his sexism. And I think that those two things would have drawn him into the MAGA universe, and it would have been extraordinarily uncomfortable. As my father, if you don't already know, lived with us the last 4 years of his life. This was his bedroom for the last 4 years of his life. He's actually in his urn is back here on my shelves. And then I see videos of people who are dealing with their MAGA parents, and I think to myself, there's no fucking way that my father and I would not have been at each other's throats. Look at this exchange between a gentleman and his father that would just make me just want to flip fucking tables.
Dad, who started the war in Ukraine?
Zelensky started the war so that he could clean up.
Okay, how did he start it, Dad? I'm curious what you think. What was the first action he took to start the war?
He went and got all those missiles and shit from the United States of America and prompted Moscow to defend itself.
By invading his country?
No, he had already started the invasion behind the curtain.
He started the invasion of his own country?
Yes, he doesn't give a shit about it.
Wait a minute, how you're saying Zelensky, somehow conscripted Russian troops to invade his country?
No, he didn't conscript them. He set up the stage for Moscow to have to take action in order to stop him from... Hell, he was bombing the shit out of Moscow.
Okay.
Where the hell do you get your news?
Where do you get yours? And I know the answer. It's Newsmax.
What do you do with that? Zelensky started the war on his own. Let's just go for a moment to what he said was the reason. Zelensky went and got all those missiles, and then Russia felt like they had to defend themselves. Well, if you listen to Donald Trump, Obama didn't give Ukraine anything. Obama didn't give Ukraine anything but sheets and blankets. And it wasn't until Trump that they got Javelin missiles, which I believe is incorrect, but let's just assume Trump is accurate there. So then Zelensky felt the need to, Russia felt the need to defend itself against Ukraine after Trump gave Zelensky missiles. So Trump is responsible. I've had some fucked up conversations with my father, but I'm glad I didn't have to have those conversations. When I say fucked up conversations with my father, I had a chance to really dive deep into my father's brain as Obama was running for re-election and tried to understand why my father couldn't bring himself to support Obama. Dad, gay rights, don't care. Sleep with whoever you want to sleep with. Dad, abortion, it's not my body, I don't give a shit. Wow. Pop, you're kind of progressive. You don't give a shit if gay people get married. You don't give a shit if women get abortions. No. Dad, healthcare for all. Medicare for everybody, Tom, is what he would say to me. Tommy, he would call me. Son, he liked to call me. Actually, he would refer to me as son. Something that I find myself doing with my own son these days. Anyway, I wish he was around to see some of this stuff. But I'm glad I didn't have to have these conversations with him. Anyway, going back to the Obama 2012, he showed a lot of progressive thought processes. And then we got to the nitty gritty. Pop, you support all of these progressive ideas. You want to see the rich people taxed. Everybody should have health care. You're for gay rights. You're pro-choice. Why can't you support Obama? And he told me flat to my face, because it's called the White House for a reason. And the only black people that should ever be in it are the ones that serve the real president. That right there tells me that if he lived to see the Trump era, he would have most definitely had a red hat on. And the gentleman in the video clip I just showed you is entirely more patient than I am. And once again, you guys only see what content creators show you. You don't see the shit that happens behind the scenes. So maybe this guy blew up at his old man in a different way at a different time. I don't know. But what he showed us was an extraordinarily calm exchange with somebody who is flat out misinformed. And that would have been my father. Man, am I glad he didn't live to see this.